gotta get your segment.
Yeah, you can just introduce yourself.
All right.
And get it in.
Yeah. What's up, man? Yo, my name is Inf, the author, you know what I'm saying? Self-published author and everything. I'm here with my brother Polight. Had to give him a shout out, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you might want to get his books about tax liens, tax deeds, because at the end of the day, man, that information is good to be spiritual, but if you can't feed your family, if you don't know about financial awareness, if you're not built to run your own business, if you're not making your asset an asset and making your wife the queen that she's supposed to be and having her function with you as a proper business, then what are you doing, big bro? So yeah, man, shout out to Polight. I'm Inf, the author. My website is www.inftheauthor.com. Come shout me out and get your copy of the book. Tabernacle. You already know.
So you say you put the information attached and it's worked out for you?
Yeah, it's worked out. It's worked out. It's made some bread, you know what I mean? And just basically everything that you taught in your book about how to structure your family, you know what I mean? I have I'm doing a little homeschooling with my kids. They still go to public school, but they get the 90% of the information from me. My wife, she's a hairdresser, so we centralize it. She do the hairdressing, I do the book writing, and we have everything together, you know what I'm saying? We basically run our business out of the house. When I'm running around, somebody buy my book, I ask them, you got locks?
So like 7,000 copies?
7,000 copies. Really, I'm at 8,000, but I wait till I get my next shipment to claim the next number. But I'm at 8,000 right now. And, you know, basically I promote my wife, she promotes me, and I got all that from his book. After I read it, I gave it to my wife, and she read it, and we getting it popping like we supposed to be, you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it. Get this man's book. Where can we go to buy your book, my brother?
At my website, www.inftheauthor.com or KareemHayes.com, just like it says on the front of my book, KareemHayes.com. Kyle Sarnetta, you can easily get my book from him, but I'm always here, man. I just got to shout out Polight, man, because he really helps. Sarnetta really helped. These are the brothers right here, man. So listen, be spiritual as you want. Financial literacy is the key, man. If we can't feed our families, you can't claim that you God when your kid is walking around with bummy sneakers and all that. You can't feed your wife, you can't feed your kid. Create your heaven within your own household first. A lot of dudes is out here preaching, they talking a lot of good stuff, but if you can't create heaven within your household, then what kind of king are you? You know what I mean? So that's it, man.
Appreciate you, God.
Definitely, man.
So we're going to make sure that we get that copy of this book, and we hopefully get deal with our brother on some publications in the future, because we know he ain't going to stop here with this gift. He going to come with some more. So check him out.
Sarnetta TV.
Siggy Botolo, new album, Mulatto.
The House of Consciousness.
Just want to say I love Sarnetta TV.
And Black News 102.
You make us smile.
Sarnetta Studio.
You make us proud.
Rising.
That ain't your cat, got me channeling my inner pocket. All 3 channels on and it don't stop. Every day on my cell, on my laptop. My Berry, I'm in Rob, Step and Ray. Squad up, scholars don't play. It's all family, don't hate the debates. Or brother Polight, or brother Divine, or brother Reggie, or boy Mastermind. Or Dr. Ali, who way ahead of his time. Or who's your favorite Dr. Ben is mine. A red, blue pill and Infidisi Stone. You know I'm tuned in when General Seti is on. There's way too many names for this one song. As we all come together, we are living forever. Brother Khaled is here, Dr. Clark ain't gone. House of Consciousness, Sarnetta put us on.
Sarnetta TV is what's poppin'. The House of Consciousness ain't stopping.
Real
And Black News 102 is forever.
This right here for the family.
What I'm going to say to you, brother, listen to me. You might be in over your head right now because you're dealing with a brother who has been dealing with this science for years. This is our elder. And the brother had made a statement, and I'm guarantee you he's going to back up what he say right now. He said that that Islam was here before Prophet Muhammad. So I'm going to ask the brother to demonstrate and to prove his facts when he make these statements. He can't be just saying that. He got to prove it. So my brother, was Islam here? You laughing. Keep laughing. Was Islam here before Prophet Muhammad, brother?
Yes,
Show us. Show and prove.
Yes, it was. First of all, when you read the Quran, in the Quran it states, I have given thee Muhammad an Arabic-speaking Quran for an Arabic-speaking people, which designates or separates those who didn't speak Arabic from those who spoke Arabic. So Islam has always been, Islam is the natural science and order of all things in the universe. It is not a new religion. It is not a new fad. The Arab did not institute it. When you go into the history of Muhammad and the Sahabas, and you speak about Bilal, the history of Bilal lets you know that Islam had to be here before the Prophet, because where did Bilal get the Islam from? And he was an Ethiopian slave. He came out of Abyssinia. Where did he get Islam from? He had never met the Prophet when he was saying what he was saying. It's his idea. It's his job. He instituted calling the Adhan, not the Prophet. That was Bilal's doing. You understand? Yes, sir. So what I'm saying is, it's not a long drawn out thing. Islam has always been. It will always be. Submission to the will of the Creator has always been. Whatever name you choose to call your Creator, everything in nature has always submitted to that. The trees do what they do, the bees do what they do, the bugs do what they do. Everything submits. The planets submit. The rotation of the planets around the sun. Everything submits to the will of the Creator. That's Islam. All this Arabism thing that y'all are attributing to it, trying to say that the Arab is this. The Arab ain't got nothing to do with Islam except he gonna follow like everybody else, or his ass gonna be in the same position. It's as simple as that. When you read Bilal's history, you'll see that Islam was here before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Now, like I told my brother Shabazz, he's our elder, so we're gonna have to deal with him and put him down slowly. That's what we're gonna have to do.
By all means.
I love Shabazz,
By all means.
but I tell him, I like it that way. I tell you, I like it that way. That's when it works out best. Okay? So first thing we gotta do is tell our elder, he gotta let that Islam stuff go. Gotta let it go. Because for one, Prophet Muhammad himself was never called a Muslim. If he was, we'll ask you for any kind of recordation of proof. We'll not only ask you, we'll ask any Muslim in the Muslim world if Prophet Muhammad was ever called a Muslim during the time in which he thrived or existed. We won't see any proof. That's one. Or if you want to say mu'minun or mu'minati, we're going to ask you for either one of the two. Okay? Show me a point in time where, okay, which means to be the faithful, right? Or the faithful men or the faithful women. We want to know, why can't we find any documentation of anybody called a Muslim during the time the Muslims purportedly existed? That's one. Two, Islam couldn't possibly pre-exist your Prophet Muhammad, on account to the fact that you have something called fitra, right? And if we know what fitra is, that's something we accredit people who probably have good hearts, good intentions, right? From the time they born, but wasn't on the Islamic path. That's two. Three, you have what's called the Jahiliyyah period, which is called the period of ignorance by Muslims. The Jahiliyyah period is the period in which Islam didn't exist according to Muslims. They called it the Jahiliyyah period, where they had the 360 idols, until they started bringing in the concept of Tawheed, which is oneness, in which case, if you were one that followed or confided in multiple deities, you will be called a mushrik, and you will be guilty of practicing shirk, which is binding partnership with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what I'm saying is this: it sounds good to the American Negro who gets put on by pale Arab converts and then re-indoctrinated by black people trying to liberate us, which is where he falls in. He falls in with the brothers and sisters in a black power movement who use Islam as a catalyst to bring us up. That's where Brother Shabazz comes in. Great intentions, right? Fitra, great intentions, right? However, you're making a mistake when you try to get us to conform or subscribe to the idea that Islam pre-existed Prophet Muhammad. There was no Islam, and we don't want to play semantics, which is to suggest the meaning of the word as opposed to the actual culture. I'm talking about the culture, I'm talking about the religion. I am not talking about what Islam means. So with that in regard, he would have no refutation to everything I just said unless you could tell me why Muslims qualify the time before Islam as the Jahiliyyah period. Because remember, you got it from them pale Arabs, so you can't turn around and tell them the right thing.
First of all, he said we can't play semantics.
Yes,
Well,
you can.
no, I'm going by what you said, brother.
You can play
If we
semantics.
can't play with semantics,
You're
then
right.
all the little words you just quoted to me
Little words.
are irrelevant. 2, Muslim. He was never called a Muslim. Well, let's see what the word Muslim means. The word Muslim means one of peace. I'm going to give back to you
You
what
must
you
have
gave.
missed the whole sentence.
No, sir. I have to give you what you gave out, brother.
Go ahead, my brother.
This is how we eat at the table together. You understand? 2, the Arab was the last one of the individuals in which is called people of the book. Those people over there that were given a book, the Arab was the last one to receive a book. So, prior to him receiving a book, he was in a state of ignorance. That's the Jahiliyyah.
No. That's Ummi.
Prophet Muhammad could not have been the first one, because when you read the genealogy, he traces it back to Abraham. Abraham traces it back to the prophets before him, and so forth and so
Was
forth.
Prophet Muhammad illiterate?
Was Prophet Muhammad illiterate?
Yeah.
Meaning, what do you mean by illiterate, first of all, so I can understand? Because I know what one says unlettered, the other one says illiterate.
Yeah, so I'm asking you, was he
Okay,
illiterate?
could he read? Did he have educational schooling? Not that I know of. No. But so did most of those out here walking around, that's standing around here right now, ain't got no real education.
Did he
But
receive the
that
Quran?
don't- Of course he did.
Did he receive the Quran with the ability to read?
He received the Quran through recitation. The word Quran means to recite.
So-
It does not mean
Shabazz.
read. Yes, sir.
Who wrote the Quran?
The Quran was not written by Prophet Muhammad. The Quran was written by the Sahabas.
Okay.
The recitation
Did are the Sahabas cool with Prophet Muhammad, or did they have beef with Prophet Muhammad?
to my understanding, the Sahabas was his close companions. There were 72 of them.
Okay.
And of those 72 companions, what they did was they memorized everything that was recited to them from the prophet and wrote that down. During the prophet's own time of living, was their Quran written to be read? No.
Okay, so now you're telling me that this man, Prophet Muhammad, committed the whole Quran to memory.
Yes, sir.
And he gave it to 72 people that could read and write.
Yes, sir.
Now, here's the question. And we're going to try our best not to get spooky.
Go ahead.
Who transmitted this information to Prophet Muhammad, a man who couldn't read, for him to convey to people that could read, 72 people to write it down?
Another man named Jibril, who y'all call an angel.
I don't call him no angel.
Okay, well.
So, another man,
Right.
Jibril.
Right.
Or probably Gabriel, right?
Whatever you choose to however
Okay.
pronunciation, go ahead.
Okay, and where did he get his information from?
Same place they all of those prophets got their information from.
I don't know. I want you
Oh,
to tell me for
we
the record.
call it Allah.
You call it Allah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How come people are not doing this stuff today? Like, out of nowhere, having whole books in their head
Hold up.
that come from God.
Check it out. If you go to Al-Azhar University right now, they have children that are 7 and 5 years old that have committed the whole Quran to memory. The reason why you individuals out here can't remember shit is because you busy reading them goddamn Fed magazines and them other bullshit freak books, so your mind is cluttered with all information. Shit. But I'm quite sure if you took your child as an example and read however many books you have compiled, and played them over in her mind over and over and over again, I'm quite sure your child would memorize all your works. So for us to assume that there is no one in this day that can memorize things, oh brother,
Oh, I didn't say that.
that's a bad shot.
I didn't say that, though. I'm trying to figure out of all people to convey a message to or give a book to, I got to turn and go around town and tell everyone the person that received this book was illiterate. That's what I got to tell you. And when we ask, so where did the illiterate person get the information to process the book? I got to tell you, well, he got it from Jibril. And then when I say
Another man.
or another man,
Jibril ought to be a non-entity.
okay.
Because how you expressing this right now would have the observer assume that Jibril was a non-entity. So I stated Jibril was a man.
okay.
It was another man who spoke to a man. And anything you've ever picked up in your life, a man has dictated it to you. Unless you have came up with something new in the cave.
Now here's where we are in the quandary. If the people, God picked a man that couldn't read to convey what the book will say to people who can read and write. The problem with that is the man who gave them the message wouldn't even be able to read what he told them to write down. Why would God do something like that?
Because the man that was receiving the revelation never wrote nothing down. I told you before.
Oh, you might have missed my question. I'm going to ask you again. I don't know how to read. You do. Hold on real quick. God comes up with this plan to give me, the man who doesn't know how to read, information so you can write it. So when I look at it, I can't even tell if you're lying about what I told you.
But I don't have.
Why would God do that?
I don't have to read it through the book because I'm the one that's reciting it to you.
Hold on. Let's do this again. You might be missing the question.
Okay.
Why is God giving somebody information for him to commit to memory so he can give it to 72 people that can read and write if he wouldn't even be able to make a determination if the people wrote down the right stuff himself since he cannot read?
Because the people, when he received it and he recited it to the people.
He's going to babysit everyone that reads that book when it spreads?
Hold up, my brother, you're asking a question. Everybody heard what he was stating. There was nobody in the corner having a private conversation. That's not how that was delivered. Everybody was there and heard what was recited. Every day, that same surah was being recited. After that surah,
No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this real quick.
After that surah was recited, each time a surah was revealed, that surah was recited.
Okay, let's do this. Do you have an original Quran on you? And tell me why you don't have an original and how many copies roughly do you think exist? And this will bring me back to the original question.
For the same reason why you don't speak your original language.
What's that, brother?
Because you don't have it. It was not written down for you or for me. I'm not Arab. First of all,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm not an Arab. So the Quran being read to me in Arabic is not necessary.
Oh.
Allah tells you that in the Quran. For those of you who study the Quran and read the Quran, Surah Ibrahim, it says, "Know for surety that I, Allah, will raise a messenger from amongst the midst of the people, speaking the language of the people, thereby making the message clear." So there will be no trickery in whether the Arab got his say-so, or the Yemenite got his say-so, or the Pakistani got his say-so. Everybody gonna get the book in their own language. All of the customs that we have over here is so-called black slaves. They didn't start over here in slavery. Them same customs and cultures started before we ever got here. But we brought them here.
Okay.
But we still understand them in English.
No problem. Now, I'll say this. Many of us may not have a CPA, right? Or an accountant. What's one of the main reasons a person gets an accountant?
Because he lacks the knowledge of his own self to count and keep track of his own money.
This sounds like the right answer to people who don't need an accountant or think they don't. Hold on, my brother, please. Come on, Monk. So, we'll do it like this, okay? To qualify all the data or all of which you accrue from one year to the next, you might be doing so much business, right? You may need an accountant. That's true. But would you suggest someone put their whole life in their accountant's hands? Or should you pay attention to make sure, or maybe get another accountant to cross-reference that accountant? But how come everyone teaches us that we got to know how to read and write and do math so that way when we hire people, they don't fuck us over? You're going to teach us that in one instance. Then you're going to give us Islam and give me an illiterate prophet and then tell us he's going to entrust what they write and he can't even read for himself to make sure they got it right.
Does illiterate to you means one who can't know or don't know, or does it mean one who is not formally educated?
Listen, what's the word they use for illiterate in the Quran?
I'm asking you the question, brother.
Okay, well, in the context of what we're discussing, Oh, no, illiterate is not illiterate. You know why? Because we're having a discussion about Islam. So the word that they're using for illiterate, my brother, because illiterate is not illiterate when we talk about Islam, they use a word for illiterate in the Quran. Now, I'm going to ask anybody, before they say I'm wrong, what is the word they're using in the Quran for illiterate? Now, I'll tell you, huh? No, that's a definition. What is the Arabic word they're using for illiterate when they speak about Prophet Muhammad?
Give it to us, brother. This is your conversation. You're at.
I know. I own this whole conversation. You just here to make me not talk to myself.
You don't own the answers.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
You know the word that we're using in this discussion?
Give me the word, brother.
Okay, I love you though. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna be humble because he's older. If he was younger, I would have tore his ass up for this part. He'd have been a Lord Merc L waiting to happen.
If you was younger, you wouldn't even be.
If you was a little younger, I would have tore that ass up for this.
Be standing there.
But we're gonna go forward because he's my elder. So we're gonna put him down gently like I told you earlier. Right? So now what we're gonna do is this. The word that they're using is ummi, right? It phonetically sounds like mother, right? But ummi means unlettered, which means you're right. However, in an Arabic context, well, tell me what unlettered means in English since you're saying oh.
Oh, no.
Because I can show you how it's a misinterpretation of the Arabic language. So since you're like, oh, tell us what unlettered means so I can correct you after you give me an English definition for unlettered.
I just gave you both of them in a synopsis. Both of them words qualify as an individual who had no formal education. That's what that word is dealing with in a nutshell.
Okay, well now I'm going to tell you what illiterate or unlettered means in the Arabic language. That's what they translated to in English. Ummi means you're unable to read in the language that the scripture is read in. That's what it means. That's a different definition from illiterate. Ummi means, it doesn't mean Prophet Muhammad couldn't read. He couldn't read in the language that they wrote the damn book in.
And what was the language the book was
Hold on, now we're going to make our point again. Since ummi means unable to read in a scripture's language, it doesn't mean he can't read at all. It just means he can't read in a scripture's language. So, out of all the languages that they could have wrote Prophet Muhammad's information in, they wrote it in a language that he couldn't understand. Now, there was a language they could have wrote it in that he understands. But for some reason, they wrote his Quran in a language he couldn't understand.
What is the language that the Quran
was
originally written in?
It's written in the Qarashuni, Syriac language using borrowed glyphs or letters from other languages because the Arabic language didn't evolve until 60 years after the Quran was written.
It's written in Fusha.
Qarashuni. Fusha is classical Arabic, which has diacritical marks. You gotta let me finish so you can learn. And then you can look it up and make sure I'm not making a mistake. Arabic Fusha is classical Arabic. Just like you have the King James Version of the Bible, and they come in with the Shakespearean information to make it more convoluted than it is already in the original language. They did the same thing to Islam. What they did, they wrote it in a classical Arabic, an Arabic that's more sophisticated in one sense than the original Arabic. And then secondly, then they did something to the convenience of people, which is to add diacritical marks to make it easier for people to pronounce the words. So this would tell us that marks were put on top the letters or below the letters in order to get the phonemes right, which is the unit of measure per letter. So why is this important? If the Quran was written in Fusha, which is classical Arabic, you're telling me the Quran was written with modifications to help people learn how to speak before the original language even came? That would make no sense. I'll say it again. The reason why you have Fusha is because in the original Arabic, you wouldn't be able to decipher how to pronounce the words.
Because the Arabs didn't speak Fusha.
So, you're telling me that the Quran was written not in an original language, but in a language to make it more convenient for other people to read, but Prophet Muhammad still couldn't read that one. Is this making any sense, my brother?
Again.
Is Fusha the original Arabic? No.
Again, the Islam is not tied down to a language. Meaning,
That's what I want.
All sciences and all knowledges are not limited or tied down to no one language. All these sciences, all these religions, all these knowledges can be understood no matter what language you speaking.
How could that be true when we just had a conversation about illiterate and unlettered, but then when we went to the original language, it meant neither one of those two words in English?
Illiterate.
How could we say language? How could we say the culture?
Don't know. Unlettered is one who's not formally educated in a particular.
And umi means I just can't read the language a scripture is written in. Now we got 3 definitions.
That does not mean I can't know. Again, I told you, it's a recitation. You're caught up in the fact that it was written down. What I'm saying to you is it's a recitation. The Quran is to be recited.
No problem.
Memorized, read, over and over again, recited out of your mouth, out of your heart, off your tongue. It is not to be limited to that book. If I speak English and he speak in Arabic, and I say the prayer in English and he say it in Arabic, does that make my prayer less than his?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why.
That's not
it. It does if someone translates a word out of context because that word is not beholding to the language that you're translating it into. Like in the case of Prophet Muhammad being illiterate in English or unlettered in English. It doesn't equate to what the word means in Arabic where they're taking it from, which is ummi. So that being the case, our soul is in the hands of the translator. And if the man who's conveying the original message cannot read it after it's been translated, then the whole damn book is suspect.
But if he recited the message to you and explained it to you during his recitation, you should understand it. Why do you
That's
need
not
the book?
Question. I'm gonna tell you why I need the book. Hold the fuck up. I'm gonna tell you why I need the book that the prophet himself can actually read. And if he can't read the book, I'm only want my information from the prophet. I don't want the info from no one, because as it stands, if we are to take, hold on, real quick, my brother. If we are to say Prophet Muhammad actually got this divine message, right? Then it stands to reason the only person we can get the message from is Prophet Muhammad, because once we write it, he can't read it. So what this means is we're subject to the human nature of people that want to impose their own interpretation on the scripture or the corpus. So what part of that are you not understanding?
So whenever you write a book,
yes,
whenever you come up with a book, you want us to be at your whim.
Nope.
Of your interpretation.
I ain't say that.
That's exactly what you just said.
I ain't say that. Now I
just stated it.
I'll say it. Oh, I'll say it again, so it's not a mistake. If the man who cannot read is the source of the books that you got to read, if the man who cannot read is the source of the books he can't read, then it stands to reason to go to him and him only. And when he dies, the information dies, because we're subject to the interpolation of the people that can read, knowing the source of the content or the corpus comes from one who couldn't be able to make a distinction from his words on that paper. That's what I said. So I write books. I exist to qualify everything that I've actually written in my books.
And when you die, where does that information go?
When I die, the information remains circulated. I have trust there and beneficiaries in place to see to it they maintain the integrity of the message of my books, because my books are retitled to my trust and my wife is the beneficiary of the same. That's the answer.
And where did you get your information from to write your books?
From the edification, me growing up, learning from other people and doing my own personal research, and coming from empirical data when I make field trips.
So the other information that you've acquired is someone else's information?
I would suppose everything I've learned comes from everybody, or different places, diverse places. That's not the point. The point is God gave somebody information. He committed a whole book to memory out of the fucking nowhere. And then he can't even read.
Out of nowhere.
Okay.
Who said that?
Okay, now we're gonna keep it real, Shabazz.
We're keeping it real.
Now we're gonna keep it real.
Now you're making a statement.
All right, cool.
That I didn't make.
Cool. I ain't say you made that statement, so I got no problem with that.
I'm asking where is it coming from?
I'm gonna tell you where it's coming from. It's coming from me. Now we're gonna keep it real. We don't even fucking know if Prophet Muhammad even existed. I'm going on with the charade just to show you the bullshit within the charade. Okay. But now we're going to go a step further and say we can't even qualify if Prophet Muhammad himself even existed, because we didn't learn nothing about Prophet Muhammad until 200 years after his death. Any document about Prophet Muhammad comes 200 years after his death. Any Quran written in Arabic any Quran written in Arabic comes 60 years after the Quran first was written. So we got a Quran that only was written in Arabic, that the Quran speaks about Arabic 60 years after Arabic is actually detailed. Then we have a prophet that is spoken about, but we don't learn about his life until 200 years after his death. Now, how come nobody in real time identified his existence? How come the only paperwork we got on the Prophet Muhammad comes 200 years after his death? How come the only Quran we got written in Arabic comes 60 years after the Quran was written? See, in logic, if a book is speaking about Arabic and Arabic wasn't even made or mentioned until 60 years after the book, I know man put his hands in there. If we know the original Quran was written in Karshuni, borrowed people's letters because the Arabic language didn't officially evolve, and we didn't even have no diacritical marks in there until Abdul Malik decides to impose diacritical marks. The problem with our religious family out there is they study the scriptures to the best of their ability from wherever they get it. But they don't do a philological perusal. They don't investigate the history of the language and the people of the same. They don't go into the dialect continuum. They don't conduct syntactic analysis. They don't give a fuck about what a gerundival participle is. They don't do all the necessary steps to make sure no one is pulling a charade or bamboozling them. What they do is, all they do, because they want to believe somebody special exists, is go along with it and then start the conversation off from a point where the prophet actually existed. They don't start the conversation off from, if the prophet actually existed, let's work our way backwards and then come forward. And what I mean by working your way backwards, we will suppose that everything they tell us about any religion is true. And what we'll do from the point of that religion's inception, work our way backwards to find out the history of everyone that precedes them. Then we'll come back forward and we'll do a comparative study on these religions in retrospect to the ones that pre-existed them. Only then can we make a legal determination as to if that which is within the confines of the corpus is true or not. You have not done that, I can tell. You just believe, and that's okay.
That's all I do is believe.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay. Show me what you or anyone else has produced out here that worked.
This is so ridiculous.
Because at the end of the day, what you're telling me is that this path that I'm on doesn't work. It's not for the people. It's not helping the people.
You're getting
the
emotional.
people are being bamboozled. They're not studied. They've not learned anything. And that's exactly what you just said to me. Okay. So now what I'm saying to you is this.
Okay, let's do it.
I want you as a civilized man to show me anything you have done or anybody else have done that equals what the Nation of Islam has done.
Okay, cool. Now, hold on. That wasn't the question. So I'm going to answer it.
No, because we went into, it was about Islam. The whole conversation was about Islam. But that's where I'm coming from. I'm not into no following no Arabs. I'm not into none of that.
No problem, brother.
You understand?
No problem.
So
show us where Islam was here.
I'll give him a recap. I'll give him a recap by doing this. Since he wants to speak,
it was always here before that.
Hold on, my brother.
And I'm not here to defend nothing in this circus.
Let me respond to your question, my brother.
By all means.
Now, the first thing we have to do.
He said Prophet Muhammad was Caucasian.
No problem. But the first thing, hold on, my brother. The first thing we must do. Hold on, real quick, King. King, hold on, real quick. The first thing we must do is realize this. This conversation in bulk was about entrusting the message of someone that purportedly existed, that committed the whole corpus to text from somebody else who was inspired by Allah. And the fact that he could not read that which he had written by people who could read. That was not to tell you that you're on the wrong path. The conversation was more of a scholarly nature. That's what it was about. It wasn't about attacking you. So if you feel like I'm personally attacking you,
no, it's not.
No, it's clear you are.
No.
So if you feel like that, no doubt. So I didn't tell you you was on the wrong path, so to speak. What I was qualifying was the statements that you was making pertaining to the context of our conversation. Now what I will do, before I answer your question about show me something that has worked, which is to imply that the Nation of Islam teachings has worked, right? In contrast to others, the first thing we'll do, just to chime in on the original conversation, was did Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad read Arabic?
No.
Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, could he read Arabic?
No.
He didn't have to read Arabic.
Okay, hold on. No, real fast. What is the book that the Nation of Islam uses? We're not talking about Dianetics and Scientology. Do they not use the Quran?
Of course they do.
Okay, now hold on, my brother, real quick.
An English Quran.
No doubt. An English Quran at that.
Right. That's
So,
right.
and in this case, I can see why they suffix. I can see why they suffix Muhammad to a lot of their names when they come in, because Muhammad couldn't read the original message and the original language his damn self. So the American Negro is just like Muhammad. That's why they add Muhammad to their names, because they themselves can't read the original Quran and the original language. So they have to trust. They have to trust whoever is transmitting the information to them. So when you give credit to Islam, when you give credit to Islam in the name of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you better just give credit to a black man instead of Islam, because he himself wouldn't be able to make a distinction as to what exactly Islam is, because he himself couldn't read it in its original language from the original corpus. So that was a black man who was brilliant, and he deserved the credit of his brilliance, not Islam. That black man used what he can use during the day and time, because, hold on, I'm gonna show you what he used. He used his fucking mind.
What, brother? You know exactly what the question is. What did he use?
So, okay, show me where in the Quran it teaches you how to have your own Muhammad Farms, your own independent news publication, and your own steakhouse, and your own bean pots. Show me where the Quran teaches you to do that shit.
First of all,
By schools, show me where the Quran showed you how to set up schools and farms and newspapers and steakhouses.
that's evident when you set up a nation. That is
Where in the
evident
Quran is telling us to do
when
that?
you set up the nation.
Why
of
you
Islam
can't
is
give
a
credit to a black man for his genius instead of giving it to this goddamn crackers religion?
Who's talking about the cracker, brother?
I'm talking about the cracker.
What you talking about?
I'm talking about
I
Islam.
don't know nothing about no
I'm
cracker
talking
religion.
about Islam.
I don't know nothing about no cracker religion.
Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
I don't know nothing about
Okay,
no cracker
okay,
religion.
I'm gonna talk to you. You don't?
Okay.
That's the problem. Because if you knew about the crackers religion, you would be able to identify it where it seeps into yours. I give you that. You don't know about the crackers religion.
I don't.
I give you that. I happen to know about the crackers religion, so I can tell when he's infiltrated us. So now we are in a quandary. We just realized in order to have this conversation, you have to have knowledge of the crackers religion, and you have to have knowledge of your own religion so you can compare and contrast. Our brother Shabazz doesn't have no knowledge of the crackers religion, so he wouldn't be able to identify when it infiltrates his religion. So now we have to omit the rest of his testimony out of this conversation and allow me to only do the speaking. By
all means.
All right?
By all means.
You good? So now what we're saying is this. Everybody,
Tap out.
Don't tap out on him. Don't let him tap you out.
the Morris, and we're going to let him down lightly, because if he was younger, we go harder. But we got to respect our elders. We're going to respect you. I'm going to respect you whether you like it or not.
That's all right, but until you show me some work that's done that equals
I'm
that
gonna go
work,
there.
we ain't got no.
I'm going to go there. Noble Drew Ali, he don't get no props?
I never said, brother. I ain't.
Okay, you asked me what other than the Nation of Islam has worked for black people.
All of that's Islam. That's
Hold
a
on,
nation.
I'm not stopping.
That's
Marcus
a nation.
Garvey?
That's a nation.
Marcus
brother.
Garvey?
That's a nation.
Kwame Ture?
That's a nation.
Kwame Ture?
That's a
Hold on,
nation.
where you
Who
get coined the
coined
term
from? That's-
Black Power?
The black man in North America.
Stokely Carmichael.
Black man here.
Are these the same people we talking about? Just making sure. Stokely Carmichael is Kwame Ture. This is a black. Now,
Of course.
so how can you accredit Islam?
Influenced by them today.
So there's multiple schools.
It's multiple schools of thought.
So but this is a knowledge. This is a nation.
Some of us go into these schools of knowledge, and then we go into other one. We was all born Christian, but where did you go next?
So we're gonna give.
I'm not. No. we were all born Christian foundation. Then most of us, or the majority of us, went into Islam. And then from Islam, we might have went into Pan-Africanism. Then from Pan-Africanism, we went into Kemet. Then we went into metaphysics. Then we went into cultism. Then we get into moral science. So you're seeing the unfolding of God before you. There's all foundation. We all get foundation. If you was not a Christian, debunking Christianity and shining light on Christianity wouldn't even have an impact. You gotta have that. You gotta have a little bit of ignorance for the truth to even do something to you. So we go through phases, Shabazz. We unfold and we develop. We evolve in our scholarship. We are all traveling through the halls of knowledge. Going back to what I was saying, and we become what? The master mason, right? In the search of the philosopher's stone or the stone that's missing. The capstone. Monk, let me just...
Yo, this is what we saying. Hold on, real fast. I'm gonna give him. Let me close this out real quick. I don't want to lose the thought. Because you know when Monk go in, he gonna go crazy with it. So yo, salute Monk. So now what I'm saying is this: we like to play this game. Hold on, my brother. I know I'm guessing. Bitch, you guessed it, right? That's the song. So listen, we like to play this game, and the game we like to play is, well, Nat Turner. He used the Bible, right? He was Christian. Well, but they don't say that. They say he used the Bible, right? After that, it goes to hell because you ain't an Israelite, so then they ain't gonna go that far. But that's what we going to go for. So they like to tell you, Harriet Tubman. Hold on. We gonna go there.
That was the most popular at that time.
Yeah, but hold on. But we gotta keep it real here. Keep it real here. All right, let's do it like this. There was no Google.
It was the only book that the white man allowed you to read, brother. Even if it was other books. They wasn't letting you get no other books. That was the only book, man, so he had to use that as a weapon. And what happens is most of the time, right? Most of the time is that we as elders, and I'm giving my brother love, is that we get stuck into the science. We don't try to get out of that. We don't elevate. We don't try to evolve. You see, we got to take the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings and elevate it now. Add on to it.
That's right.
Shabazz is getting stuck into it. He's not trying to elevate it.
That's right.
What did the lesson say?
Huh?
What did the lesson say? The lessons of Elijah Muhammad, lost without Muslim lesson, it says, who made the Holy Quran or Bible? It's speaking about you, but the Quran, it really don't have nothing to do with no paper. The core is the heart. See what I'm saying? So a lot of our leaders had they jump off in Islam. Imam Isa, Sheikh Dawood. Come on, we take all the tools and utilize them.
Let me show you something, brother. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Hold on, let's keep it real. What's the number one reason why the black man chose Islam? Because the Christians was fucking castrating them, raping them, and hanging them off of fucking crosses. So he would pick anything that looked like it was in opposition to that goddamn Christianity. So let's keep it real. He didn't pick Islam because his heart was in Islam. He picked Islam just to be a rebellious fucking nigga. That's why he picked Islam. Because at that time, the Christians, white Christians, were clearly using crosses to emasculate us, to murder us. So we would take anybody else's culture that had any kind of momentum to uplift us when we started raising our literacy. Because we understood, why would we take on the same religion that clearly those who were inspired to persecute us subscribe to? So let's keep it real here. We didn't use Islam because it was in our heart and we was magnetized to Islam. We were being rebellious. That's one. Now two is this. You got to keep it real. Our ancestors didn't have Google. Our ancestors couldn't download PDFs. Our ancestors didn't have Facebook. They didn't have social media like YouTube to look up videos at an instant like you do on Sinetta TV. So there wasn't much books for them to choose from. Just like today, like in slavery, if you go to prison right now, don't you know they took out the educational programs in prison? Now you can't even get a GED in prison now. But guess what you can get in prison? You can get a Bible, a Quran, or a Torah. They don't feel no way. They love the prisoners so fucking much that we're going to take away the education and leave you with the scriptures of monotheism.